Today we're going to be taking a look at brushes. Not just any brushes, but these are my favorite free Procreate brushes. Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals. And a quick disclaimer on this video, I made a video where I talked about brushes several years ago now, and since then, some of those brushes no longer work in the newer versions of Procreate, and some of those brushes that used to be free are no longer available for free. So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. If I had to guess, I'd definitely say plague, famine, definitely a meteor. I'm on Team Meteor. But as of right now, for Procreate 5, they all work perfectly. And if you want to download these brushes, go to my website, bradcowboy.com/Procreate brushes. To get these, you can also grab some of the brushes that I've created that I won't be talking about today, the ones I use to ink and color my comics. Anyway, let's get going and check out these brushes. This first set is called Nico Brushes. They were designed by an artist illustrator named Nikolai Lachertson. He does some fantastic stuff. You can see it right here on the screen. Looks pretty cool. And he's been nice enough to share some of the brushes that he uses in his artwork. And I had a lot of fun playing around with these because they don't produce the same clean line work that I'm used to making. It pushes me out of my comfort zone a little bit. He's got this whole set here. I really like the pressure sensitivity on the square textured one. It felt a lot like drawing with a big block of chalk, which could be a little bit of fun and create some different things that I didn't really expect. Another set of brushes that I really enjoyed for much of the same reason were these. These are the Jing Sketch brushes. This is the basic 10 set. These were a little bit more streamlined, but there were some great brushes and I loved how the pressure sensitivity worked to have more paint flow out of them, and I still got a good amount of texture going on. Oftentimes with a lot of these free brushes, it's hard to get that paint pressure just right. If you press too hard, you just get a solid blob. You lose the texture and the fun in the edges that makes the brush interesting in the first place. That's not the case here. I thought these gave me a really great feel. There's a set here called the Tuvis set, and I like the whole set. It's cool, but there's one brush in particular that I am a huge fan of. That's this one right here. It is called the Helios brush. The reason I like this brush so much is back in the day, I used to draw a lot of cartoons and comics, some editorial illustrations for a web design magazine type thing, and I wanted to give it this ink washed watercolory look, and there was one brush in Photoshop that was part of the Kyle brushes set, which gave me the perfect ink wash look that I was looking for. And in Procreate for years, I was looking for a brush that could give me that same look. And finally, I found it. It's this one brush in this one set, and I love it. What I really like about it is it's not too samey. What I mean by that is oftentimes with the watercolor brush, you can start to see the texture repeat, or you have to cover a wide swath of area before that texture actually starts to look good. This one doesn't look like it's repeating the same texture over and over again, and when I'm using it in smaller areas, I'm still getting some of that texture, and I can also get a little bit of a washed out feel on the inside, and a little bit of a harder edge or more color on the outside. Plus, it's really easy to layer on top of itself. I just love that brush. So that is the one watercolor brush that I really, really like. However, I know a lot of you are always looking for different watercolor styles and things like that to use them differently that feel kind of like realistic watercolors. Well, I've got a couple sets here for you. Abby Nurse made some that are really nice. They're definitely worth checking out. Also, this set by Osino Mucci, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm sorry. They're really subtle, but they have some great textures to them. These are definitely worth checking out too. Do you know what gouache is? I know what gouache is. At least I kind of do. I've never used it in real life. It is one of the most intimidating mediums I've seen. It behaves a lot like watercolor, but from what I understand, it looks a lot thicker. It goes on a lot heavier. And because of that, it seems very hard to work with and can be unforgiving, but in the right hands, it is absolutely magical. So this is not a set of brushes. This is one gouache brush, but just playing with it a little bit, I really liked it. It's got this great range. Before I mentioned how some brushes, as you apply more pressure, they just blob out. This one does this really well, whereas if you apply just a tiny bit of pressure, you get a nice light color attached to the page, but as you apply more, you get more and more color. I really liked painting with this brush. I'm probably going to be using it more as I go forward in a lot of my art and illustration. These are the Maddie B hatching brushes. There's a whole bunch of them here. There was 2 or 3 that I really, really enjoyed. I like to get these solid black colors when I'm hatching something. Some of them do different shades of gray and things like that, and that's cool if you like that sort of thing. I really like getting just those nice, cool hatch lines. It saves me a ton of time from having to go in and do it manually. In fact, I almost never do it manually because it's just so dang time consuming. So if I can get a brush that gives me a cool effect like that, I like that. I like it a lot. Who wants some anime-inspired speed lines? Wait, that's the wrong question. Who doesn't want anime-inspired speed lines? These are just fun. I like fun. If you don't like fun, I can't do anything for you. I'm sorry. Why do you hate fun? Obviously, there is a very specific place for these brushes. I don't know if I'm going to use them that much, but just having them in my arsenal is one of those things I know is going to come in handy eventually. I've got another cool set of brushes here. This is from a company called Paperlike. Yes, that Paperlike, the Paperlike who sponsors my videos. Yes, that Paperlike who is sponsoring this specific video right now. They have some free Procreate brushes up on their site that you could go grab right now. Link down below. Paperlike is a matte screen protector for your iPad that gives it some texture and a heck of a lot more drawing control when you're drawing on that smooth glass iPad screen. They sound good too. One day I should do an ASMR version of this promotion. But seriously, these screen protectors are great. I have them on my iPads right now. You've seen them throughout this video. It's not just because they're a sponsor, it's because I actually like using it. You can get these to fit any size iPad. Check out the description. There is a link where you can get your Paperlike today. Next up, we have some Foliage brushes. Now, Foliage brushes are a little bit hit or miss for me. Some look a little too much like a pattern. If they get too big, you see these vectory, shapey looking things that just distract you. If they get too small, they just look like a thin little funky brush. But what I like about this set is they find that great middle ground where it gives you just enough texture, but it looks organic. It looks just right. It's hard to do, but this set nails it. I've got some stippling brushes here, and I'm linking to a couple different sets because I still have not found the perfect one. I've found some good ones though. Oftentimes in my art, I lay down a lot of flat colors, and then where I want to add a shadow, I'll go in and just add a flat shadow, but it can be fun to use these kind of textured brushes, especially like a stippling brush, to add that shadow instead. I really like that look. I really like doing that sort of thing. These sets scratch that itch. Lastly, I have these brushes. I still need to figure out how I'm going to use these, but these are called fun stuffers. They're just different textures and patterns and things like that that have been stuffed into brushes to do some cool things. There's some bricks, there's some stones, there's just weird hatching line work. There's all sorts of stuff I have no idea how to describe, but these are all fun and I'm really glad they're in my brush collection. So those are some of my favorite Procreate brushes. What are your favorite brushes? Are they free? Are they paid? Let me know. Link them down below in the comments. I would love to see them. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.